Good morning, everybody. This is Omar Serrato with the Tilted Lawyer podcast. And of course, our lighting is not ready as we began. My apologies for the late start. I literally just finished a court appearance this morning via Zoom for another case that I had. But we have a lot to talk about. A lot of you have been requesting that I comment on Hannah Kobayashi, who has been the subject of much speculation and now backlash and ridicule, because it appears that not only was she not sex trafficked, not only was she not involuntarily disappeared somewhere, it appears that she voluntarily left the country. She may have entered into a scam marriage for purposes of immigration. We need to talk about all of that. Her sister is pissed. Her father has lost his life. There was a GoFundMe that started on account of her disappearance that's raised $47,000. What's going to happen with all of that? There's a lot going on. We're going to get to the bottom of all of it coming up next.
Whatever you might be going through and wherever you might be, this is Omar Serrato with the Tilted Lawyer podcast. I'm here to take your mind off of things. Yes, I'm an attorney. No, I'm not giving you legal advice. We're going to sit and talk like people, as these are the candid thoughts of one practicing attorney, and it's after hours. So have a seat. Feel free to have a drink and join me. Let's get started.
All right, so Hannah Kobayashi, Friday, November 8th, she departs from Maui, off the island of Maui in Hawaii, likely in the afternoon or in the evening. It's unclear. She lands later that night at LAX, misses her connecting flight to New York. Her ex-boyfriend with whom she had planned the trip is on that flight and proceeds to fly to New York. She begins sending strange text messages to friends claiming that she was hacked, that she was stripped of her identity. She also mentioned going to the Redwoods, and like, what in the F does that mean? So Saturday on November 9th, she spends some time at the LAX airport. She's captured there on surveillance, going back and forth between terminals, just kind of wandering about. She visits a world market and a fashion bookstore, or some kind of a bookstore in Hollywood. It's possible that she was charging her phone at that time. She sent money via Venmo to a guy named Jonathan Taylor for a reading. What kind of a reading? Tarot card, psychic? I don't know. But these are the facts. So on November 10th, Sunday, November 10th, she continues sending these unusual text messages to friends, expressing paranoia about being tracked and her desire to go to the Redwoods. On Monday, November 11th, at approximately 5:29 a.m., Hannah texts her mom about having a spiritual awakening and heading back to the airport for New York. Her family finds the text messages suspicious because there was a lack of emojis. I guess she was a connoisseur of emojis, I guess. She's seen with an unidentified man at the LA Metro station. That man is later confirmed to be Alan Cacace, and the family knew his identity the entire time. So she's last seen at the Grove shopping mall in LA, attending a Nike event, and that was it. So in the following days and weeks after that, Hannah's family reports her missing, begins a public campaign to find her. Her father is distraught, beside himself, catches himself a flight from Hawaii to LA in an effort to try to retrace her steps, try to find her on his own. And this whole thing ensues. A GoFundMe is started, among other things. They highlighted the strange text messages, the unidentified man, as evidence that she was in danger. There was a private investigator. Investigator began looking into the case and uncovered evidence that Hannah boarded a Greyhound bus to Palm Springs. Why? Well, Palm Springs is kind of sort of on the way to the Mexican border if you're traveling from LA. So she boards a bus. She's on her way to Palm Springs. This investigator also suggests that Hannah might have been involved in a green card marriage scheme. What in the hell does that mean? Well, one of the ways that you can naturalize and become a citizen in the United States is by marrying an American citizen. So, wouldn't you believe it? There's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals every year that attempt to get one past immigration, and they try to do a make-believe marriage for the purposes of obtaining immigration benefits. And, that's really it. When you're being investigated by the government, specifically immigration, they want to see evidence of a legitimate marriage, a bona fide marriage. They want to see social media posts, photographs, wedding certificates, wedding pictures. Do you have children? Do you live together? Do you have bills together? Do you have joint accounts together? And for how long have you had these accounts? In other words, they're trying to make sure that you guys are actually in the practice of carrying out a real life relationship. So if that's what she's doing, she's kind of notoriously famous at this point for going on this whirlwind green card scam. And so whatever plan they had is likely to fail, at least on the immigration front, among other consequences that have befallen her since this whole thing began way back on November 8th. So Hannah's Venmo transactions reveal payments to a Veronica Alars on November 5th and a Jonathan Taylor on November 9th. Hannah's family appears on news programs. They're going on social media. They're pleading for her safe return. They're pushing this narrative that she's missing and they're suspicious circumstances. She's in danger. There was suggestions that she had been sex trafficked, kidnapped, something. I don't know. Sort of like that movie Taken, met up with some mysterious individuals at an airport, was tricked into getting into something nefarious, and now, well, she's on her way to Belarus or something. I don't know. But that's what was going on. Nancy Grace and a number of different online sleuths have increasingly questioned the family's narrative and don't think that they're being altogether truthful. Except her father is dead. What do you make of that? I don't know. The way that he died is he jumped off the top floor of a parking garage in LAX. I think it was in like 9 stories high. I've been there before, many, many times. Matter of fact, when I go and I park at LAX, I'm usually go all the way to the top of that parking garage. It's just, I don't know, something that I do. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I do know that Hannah's sister has come out recently and said that basically she's pissed for a lot of different reasons. And I'll get to that. On November 23rd, the LAPD announces that Hannah voluntarily crossed the border into Mexico. The family claims that they were only informed hours before the public announcement. That might be true. I don't know. The family continue to express concern, insist they're going to continue searching for her in Mexico. There was a volunteer search organization working with the family. They issued a statement expressing their disappointment with the outcome, saying that they were misled. Now, at this point, I don't know what's going on. But here's the bottom line. If she voluntarily effed off to Mexico for whatever reason, vacation, trying to find herself a spiritual awakening, then she wasn't kidnapped, and that's her right to do that. And so what are we doing now at this point? Like, she's not missing. She's somewhere in Mexico and she doesn't want to be found. And then guess what? That is her prerogative. She's not a child. She's 30 years old. Of course, we'll talk about her father in a minute. She has a sister named Sydney. She's been appearing in media interviews with her dad initially, expressing disbelief, confusion, I'm sure. Hannah's aunt, Lori, has come out actively posting on TikTok and other social media platforms, talking about the emotional experience, about everything that's going on that have led to the obvious accusations that are they trying to like milk this for clout, I guess? Like, what are we doing? Like, you're going to start a YouTube, a TikTok channel off of your missing sister. What's the end game here? Hannah's mom, the one that received the text from Hannah on November 11th, has been questioned. Is it possible that this was an entire scheme concocted by various members of Hannah's family to try to, a social media stunt? But then you say that, but her father is literally dead. Under mysterious circumstances, sure, except there are cameras all over the place of that LAX parking lot. I've been there. I don't think that there is an inch of that parking garage that is not covered on surveillance in some regard, which means, foul play would have very, very quickly been identified, and there is none. He was distraught because his daughter was missing, and he was thinking the worst, and so he couldn't handle it over the course of a couple of weeks, and he took his life. I don't know. It's bizarre. It is bizarre. There's Hannah's ex-boyfriend. He traveled with Hannah to L.A. and then goes on to New York by himself when she missed her connecting flight. He's been cooperating with the police. Cacace, that's the guy that was seen with Hannah at L.A. Metro. L.A. Metro is like L.A.'s version of subways. We don't really have subways. We got trains. And the L.A. Metro station is one of the places where you would board a plane to various stops. I do believe they have a train that goes all the way to Palm Springs, if I'm not mistaken. There's an LA Metro station right outside my office, but literally right downstairs. You can take the train from LA to from my office if you wanted to. But they've known about this guy, Alan, all along. But they are suggesting that he has intentionally misled the public and the family. Why? I don't know. Veronica Lars, she's the one that took that Venmo payment. What was that for? She received it on November 5th. Her connection to Hannah is unknown. There was this Venmo payment for the reading. Nancy Grace has talked about, Nancy Grace is insufferable. I'm not a fan of Nancy Grace. And, she gets on these soapboxes. She's not a very sincere person, but she's been very openly criticizing and chastising the family for them trying to take advantage of this situation. I don't know. I don't know what her deal is. Lieutenant Douglas Oldfield is the officer in charge with the LAPD. He's in charge of the missing persons unit. A chief of detectives, Alan Hamilton. They both have publicly stated that Hannah's disappearance appears to be voluntary and are frustrated with the family's continued speculation and misinformation. What that tells me is they kind of already know where she's at. And like this whole narrative that this is mysterious circumstances or whatnot, I think that they know enough to know that it's not. I think they know enough to have concluded that this is all kind of bullshit and there's not a whole lot to see here. So initial theories, the initial theory was surrounding Hannah's disappearance. First, so she misses her connecting flight. There's these odd text messages. Some of these messages had suggested that she had been hacked, had her identity stolen. Surveillance footage showing Hannah at a downtown LA Metro station with an unidentified man. The initial theories were, was she kidnapped? Was she sex trafficked? Those circumstances combined with her family just kind of piling on led people to believe that maybe she was abducted. We talked about the sex trafficking thing. The fact that her phone had gone dead shortly after the last text message further heightened those concerns, as you could imagine. It's important to note that this initial theory has been 100% contradicted by all of the evidence that's been recovered. All of this is basically bullshit. All of those initial concerns. What's Hannah's role in it? What is her mom's role in it? What's her sister's role in it? I don't know. There was a case not too long ago, maybe 7 or 8 months ago, where there was this lady that faked her own disappearance. She was like seen on surveillance, like running down the freeway or something, and then she was later found. And then it turned out to be all completely bullshit. And then she was charged with the filing of false police report or false missing reports or wasting government resources. I don't know. These kinds of cases happen. The unfortunate thing is, her dad. So let's talk about her dad. Ryan Kobayashi died by unaliving himself at the LAX airport while he was actively searching for his daughter. He flew from Hawaii to LA. Obviously, before November 25th, it's been reported that he jumped from the top of the parking structure. It was reported, on all accounts, that he was deeply grieving the loss and possible, what he believed, death of his daughter. He was beside himself with grief. He was visibly upset in his interviews that he had given to the public. He was going through it. His family had described it as an intense emotional strain brought about by the pain of searching for his missing daughter. And then the public scrutiny and all the media getting involved, and Nancy Grace talking about the family's bullshit and all this kind of stuff. He just, he snapped. He snapped. I don't believe for a second that he was murdered. I just don't believe that. It's completely bizarre that he took his life a couple of weeks after. I don't know what it is that he had concluded in his mind where, I don't know, just getting into the mindset of a dad. You're looking for your daughter. Unless you have proof positive confirmation that she's gone, then she's still out there and you're still going after her. I don't get the response to, unless he had concluded himself that she was gone and never coming back, why he would take such a drastic step as to unalive himself. I don't know what people were communicating to him. I don't know what he was being told. I'm not surprised that it happened. I'm surprised in the way that it came about. It has been suggested that online bullying directed at her dad might have contributed to his emotional distress. Private investigator Steve Pfizer had hypothesized that Ryan might have learned about Hannah's alleged involvement of the marriage scam. That could have led to feelings of shame, which again, I don't know if it leads to shame enough to do what he did. I don't know. The whole thing is effing bizarre. It's completely bizarre. None of it is connecting dots. There are dots, for sure. None of them are connecting with what has come out this far. So let's talk about the scam marriage theory, which it hasn't 100% been confirmed, but this is what's out there. According to LA Magazine, there were documents found by Hannah's mother suggesting that Hannah might have participated in a marriage for the purpose of helping an Argentinian man, Alan Karachi, I don't know how you pronounce it, Karachi or Karachi, helping that guy get a green card, a fiance visa or spousal visa or whatever. They also cited that Hannah was scammed out of her payment for participating in the marriage, schemed by her ex-boyfriend, and that was what prompted those weird text messages about all of her money was taken, her identity was stolen. She sent a text message to her friend on November 11th where she states, "I got tricked pretty bad, pretty much into giving away all my funds from someone that I thought I loved," her ex-boyfriend, I guess. And then it was reported that she flew from Maui to LA with Karachi's girlfriend, and Hannah's ex-boyfriend. What the F? The four of them supposed to be traveling. The ex-boyfriend continues on in New York, and Hannah stays in LA, where she's later seen with some other guy at LA Metro. Further complicating the narrative, a lot of different people, Grizzly True Crimes has commented on this. I forget who else. But they claim, and it's starting to be speculated, and a lot of people are starting to connect the dots just logically, that Hannah's family must have been aware of the marriage as early as November 16th. There was a screenshot of a text message allegedly sent by Hannah's sister, Sydney, to an unidentified recipient on November 16th that included a photo of Hannah and Karachi on a beach and the statement, "This is our confirmation and lead now." What the fuck? Of course, the family denies everything. They have hired an attorney, very publicly announcing that any information about the alleged marriage was because they did not have sufficient evidence to verify its legitimacy. The family attorneys characterized the information as one of many leads that they were actively investigating. And so there is that. That's it. There were immigration documents that showed that Hannah was working with an immigration attorney. There's really only one reason why you would call an immigration attorney. And in this case, it appears that maybe she was trying to get a fiance visa for this guy, Karachi. Maybe he had promised her money. Maybe he said, "Hey, for $25,000, we'll go through this sham marriage. I'll get my green card and then we're done." And then it worked in reverse. Who knows? But she was definitely in contact with an immigration attorney, and that attorney has not been cooperative thus far with anybody. There was a marriage photo. There was a photo circling around that appears to be Hannah and this guy on a beach wearing white and like Hawaiian lace. Hey, Dominic, could you find that picture on the internet? Could you play like the Jamie roll and like find shit for me?
Yeah.
I'll get you an extra maraschino cherry for your Shirley Temple. There was a screenshot of a text messages that was sent by Hannah's sister that included that picture. That's it. That's the evidence that they have. So now what? Her family is sitting here enduring heavy scrutiny by outside sources. Her father is now gone. It's been reported from various other sources, and by sources, I'm talking about ABC, CBS, everybody's picked up on this case, but what's in the general lexicon at this point is that the family is experiencing severe internal strife, as you could imagine. Tensions between the family, particularly between Hannah's sister, Sydney, and her aunt, Laree Pigeon, have boiled over. There's been disagreements over who should represent the family in the media, how to manage the $50,000 that's been raised online to aid in the search. And honestly, I think there's going to be some legalities with that. I don't think it's advisable that they do anything with that money. Maybe they should put it in an escrow account in the off chance that they might have to pay it all back. But that money should not be spent for any reason upon now that it's been verified that Hannah is voluntarily in Mexico. it's clear that they're going through stuff. It's also been reported that Hannah's friends were among the first to notice that something was wrong. They had received cryptic text messages from Hannah suggesting that she felt unsafe, that she was possibly the victim of identity theft, financial exploitation. Those messages, along with Hannah's uncharacteristic silence, and they mention, look, I don't know how scientific it is, but I'll just say this. It's becoming increasingly a thing where your manner of text messages is becoming a tool to identify somebody, such as like fingerprints. Like we all have like we all have a style of texting, you know, certain words that you constantly misspell, certain emojis that you always use. So for example, you know, you have like a 16-year-old kid and they speak in emojis and shortened words. And all of a sudden you get like this full on beautifully written paragraph saying, hey, don't worry about me. I have taken off. I've ran away to the redwoods because I've had a spiritual awakening upon my consummation of ayahuasca. I've been spiritually awakened and, you know, don't ever look for me again. I have found the light and I'm going there. You know, you see something like that. Something's a mess. We have that in this case. There's been a mismatch of text message context, I guess you would call it, to suggest that there's maybe more that meets the eye. I gotta say, this is one of those cases where I literally have no idea. Look, she could very well be there voluntarily in Mexico, and I'm also not ruling out this idea that she is not there voluntarily. Like she's there because she made certain promises and there's been certain threats made, and she's been, if she is in Mexico, it's very possible that she's there under duress. Would it be so hard to believe that, hey, she promises this guy Cacace a visa? She promises certain things. I don't know the details of it, but something went wrong. Something went wrong and something is amiss. And now she's gone. I don't know, man. It is bizarre. It's bizarre. The text message back where the family identifies that this is not her gives me pause to conclude anything. I don't know. I don't know what to make. It's 100% possible that it could be a manufactured story on the part of the family. It's 100% possible that it could be a number of different things. As far as what specifically it is, I don't know, man. But something is going wrong. Something is wrong.
Is this the one I found? Is that what you're talking about on the right?
Yeah, throw it up on the screen. Well, the one where they're in white and they're wearing lace, put that up on the screen if you don't mind. So this is the picture that they have been texted. Dominic is going to get it on screen right now. Dominic, I don't want to see your weird porn up here, man. Just make sure that you clean up your Google history before you start clicking on things. The image, I think, well, yeah, this one right here where they're on the beach. Click on that picture. Put that up.
I can't. Every time I click it, it just takes me to here.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. It's like Jamie Light. So 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before she goes missing, she takes this picture. If you see on the right-hand side here. Gosh, it looks so similar to Lori Vallow. What is it with Hawaii and doing photo shoots dressed in white, man? Why is that even a thing? Is this, yeah, it looks like this guy in the picture is this same guy, Argentinian man, Cacace. That's her. I mean, they look to be very happy together. I don't know. But there could also be something nefarious going on. Who effing knows, man? This story is so bizarre. I'm not really comfortable making conclusions about any of it at this point. Continuing on. What happened here? All right. Here's what I know. This GoFundMe account that they opened up is a problem. As of, I think, yesterday, they had raised about $47,000. That was supposed to be for search efforts. The problem is when law enforcement makes a statement, says, we know where she is and we're not going to find her and we're We're not going after her anymore. It's because she is a 30-year-old adult, and whether or not you like the fact that she effed off to Mexico, she is an adult, and it is legal, and we're done with this. So now what do you do? Because now the speculation is, hey, that's a real interesting way to make a quick 50 grand. That's just a fake, a disappearance, and contrive this story about false marriages and trafficking and disappearances, and maybe they're trying to set up this guy Cacace. I don't know. But what troubles me about all of it is her father is gone. That is rough. That's like the ultimate backfire, isn't it? People are saying that she should refund the donations, and I would agree. At the very least, keep that money in an escrow account that nobody could touch, because it's unlikely that if somebody comes after that money, they will, that they're going to be able to keep any of it. But I don't know, the idea that you're going to fake the disappearance of your 30-year-old daughter and come up with this weird, bizarre, fake scheme for a false marriage for the purpose of raising 50 grand. That's not that much money, man. You know how quick 50 grand goes? Hey, Dominic, how quickly you think you could make $50,000?
Make it disappear or make it?
Make it. Well, you can make it disappear at the flop of a coin. Just
Yeah.
at the blackjack table. $50,000, I'm going all in. Whatever.
Probably a year.
For somebody that's making, Jesus Christ, for somebody that's making $200K, you're talking about 3 months salary, I guess. I don't know, but $50,000 doesn't seem worth it, because then you'd have other people involved in it, and you're splitting that money with, I'm assuming, everybody that's involved with it. It just doesn't seem logical that was a thing, which means that either they didn't raise as much money as they had hoped, or she didn't stay missing for as long as they thought. Maybe this was going to drag on for 2-3 months, a year, and then she's going to pop up 3 years in, Thailand or something. Oh, I was just vacationing the whole time and found myself. And then, but in the meantime, they raised like $3.8 million. Maybe that's possible. I don't know. It's possible. There's some that have gone so far as accuse the family of orchestrating the entire scam, exploiting public sympathy to raise the money. And I agree. The fact that the family is fighting internally leads me to believe that if that was a thing, that it wasn't a shared sentiment by everybody in that family. I think where I land on this is, look, having some experience as being an attorney involved in missing persons cases before, when law enforcement stops looking abruptly and tells you something like she's in Mexico, we're done, then she's not missing anymore. And the fact that they've stopped investigating means that they have conclusive evidence that they are not willing to divulge that she's safe. And if she wants to be 30 years old and start this new life with Cacace, I have to imagine that she's aware that everybody's looking for her. I have to imagine that she is aware that her father is gone. It cannot be the case that she's voluntarily out there and doesn't know anything that's happening with any of this. It just can't. I can't conceive of it. And if that's the case, if she's having some kind of mental breakdown, some kind of psychosis, some kind of midlife crisis at 30 years old, no less, then you got to let her be. People make stupid decisions all the time. You can't save people from their stupid decisions. Sometimes people just do things and they don't have to explain it to you. We just talked about a couple weeks ago about this dad that found a girlfriend in wherever it was, like France. Found some European girlfriend, faked his death because he didn't want to be married anymore. He had 3 children that were like of teenage age and younger. Fakes his death and then F's off, makes a video confirming that, yeah, I'm safe. Offers no explanation as to why. And, around Thanksgiving, and his family's like, okay, well, your dad is right there. He's not coming back, though. What do you do with that? Look, is it morally wrong that he does that? Of course it is. Is it a shitty thing to do? Yeah, but is it illegal? No. I mean, in his case, it might be illegal because he literally faked his death and caused law enforcement to use up a considerable amount of resources in trying to find him. But, I guess he's confirmed his identity. What to make of that? I have no idea. If he is guilty of a crime, it's for faking his death. But if he wanted to abandon his family, nobody's stopping him because, there are some prognosticators out there. There are some spiritual people out there that believe that mankind was offered a free will with the ability to exercise it, and he has. And Kobayashi has. Presumably. I'm assuming that there's not anything nefarious. There isn't any kind of foul play here, that there isn't anything crazy going on. I have to assume that, and the only dot that I could reasonably connect here is that law enforcement isn't concerned anymore. And if this was some kind of a weird scheme on the part of some of her family members, it doesn't appear to be shared by all of them. It makes zero sense why her father is gone. It makes zero sense. Zero. None. If he was so shamed by her actions that he just chose to basically take his life in honor, like the way of a samurai, the way that a samurai would fall on his sword. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know anything about the man or his personal philosophies or what he adheres to, what his human code is. But, it seemed like this story was going somewhere, and where it ended up is just so disturbingly. What's even the word? How would you characterize this story, Dominic?
Just crazy, man.
Totally. It's disappointing. It's I don't know. If it weren't for the death of her father, it might be comical, but it's taken on a serious undertone. And now who's responsible for that? Could Hannah be charged with the crime? Yeah, she can. If certain determinations are made. There is not any evidence that she intentionally misled anybody. She sent people messages. She didn't claim to be dead. She just effed off. There's nothing illegal about that. Nothing. The consequences that stemmed or flowed from that action can't even be considered damages because it's not a crime. It's just not. And so where this story goes, look, there's going to be further developments, I'm sure. At some point, maybe Hannah even issues a statement. At some point, law enforcement files charges against this family for manufacturing a story and trying to pilfer $50,000 from the unsuspecting public. But that's where we're at with this right now. And gosh, what do you all think, man? Erica P says, I wouldn't be surprised if she gets detained at the border if she returns, though. But why would she get detained? Why, Erica? What does she do wrong? If she's an American citizen, she has in and out privileges. She'd have to be charged with the crime to be detained at the border is the point, I guess. Justice A to Z, by the way, she did a video, a live stream just before mine did. I didn't know, but I checked out her channel. Dog the Bounty Hunter did an interview with, I think it was News Nation. Is that who it was, Justice A to Z? She sent me a link somewhere in the comments. And by the way, Dog the Bounty Hunter, I don't know how old that guy is, but he's looking rough. He's looking frail. I used to watch his show like 20 years ago, whenever it used to come on. I don't know how old he is, but he claims, according to Justice A to Z, to have known Hannah at some point like 7 years ago. What to make of that, I don't know. Other than, gosh, Dog the Bounty Hunter sure does know a lot of strange individuals, or just happens to know a lot of people that go missing. He came on the map because he was on the hunt of somebody that was very famously missing. I don't even remember who it was, but that's what it was. Jules, what's up, Jules? She says, GFM will make 2 attempts to get their money if enough people who donated report it as a fraudulent GoFundMe. Yeah, and I think the legality of that is basically there has to be a finding that it was actually fraudulent, because just because people donated and are of the opinion that it's fraudulent doesn't mean that it's actually fraudulent. Like if law enforcement files charges, then yeah, it's an easy case. But 100%, I agree with you that there's something is gonna have to give. Una says, I think there is so much we don't know with regards to the family dynamic. We don't know. There has to be more. Oh, there is more. There is more. And where this is all going, it's anybody's guess.